What's up, Iberia Nation? Welcome to The Rundown with me, your girl, Brandi Iberia. Your space for culture, conversation, and the stuff everybody's talking about. And maybe a few things people are thinking, but not saying out loud. Today's conversation, it's layered. Faith, relationships, money, ego. We are going there. So let's get it. This topic has got quite a few people shook. We're talking about the second half or the first half. It kind of depends on where you go of the dynamic gospel duo. I'm talking about Mary, our girl Tina Campbell, and reports that she is going through a divorce from husband Teddy Campbell. Successful in his own right as a drummer and singer. Some of you may know him from The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. He was actually the drummer there for quite a few years. And then also he has gospel roots, quartet style music. So he had success in his own right. Now, if you followed their story over the years, this isn't coming out of nowhere. Mary had a reality show. I actually loved the show. But let's be honest, Tina and Teddy, they have had a very public relationship, especially during the time of that show. Public challenges in their marriage that we all had a front seat for. And we're talking about infidelity, rebuilding, and forgiveness. They've shared a lot. So when this news came out, some people were shocked, but others were like, yeah, there were signs. Okay. So take a listen to this snip of one of the times Tina was considering leaving Teddy on the Mary reality show years ago.
If you whispered in a closet that you want to apply your faith to the situation, then apply your faith.
Since then, I found out about more. And I don't want to hold on to somebody who I cannot trust. You see, I have been trying since the very beginning. The situation gets a little worse, and then I try to forgive, and it gets a little worse, and I try to forgive. You gonna keep adding people? You gonna keep adding people? You gonna keep adding people? I thought we had a good life just like everybody else watching. I thought we was the ideal relationship just like everybody else. And I got to find out in front of the whole goddamn world that all of my life was a lie? And you want me to quote scriptures right now?
I don't want you to quote scriptures.
You want me to say something that's all positive? I feel negative right now.
I know that.
I just want you to understand that.
I know that.
I never kissed another man. I never went out with another man. I never entertained the wrong conversation. I never cheated in my head. I never did anything. I was 190% committed to that man. And this is what you did every time I was gone? You stole my life away from me. I'm angry. Why you gotta do me like this? I was good to you, man. I was good to you. I was good to you. I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want him.
Okay, I'm going to say something, y'all. I know that was a lot, but I want to say something, not messy, but real. Sometimes people stay longer than they're supposed to in things that God told them to leave a long time ago. I mean, you can love God, honor your commitment, do the work, and still come to a place where you realize this is no longer where I'm supposed to be. Now, that's a hard truth. And as sad as I feel for Tina having to battle this publicly again, battle this transition, this divorce, especially being that Teddy is the one that filed. And he said he wanted to do it quickly. He didn't want to drag it out. And we're talking about 20 years, y'all, over 20 years in marriage, and they have several children together. It is a tough situation, but I have to say that the truth has been very evident for a really long time. I do believe marriage takes work. Now, that's the truth, but it doesn't have to kill you. It doesn't have to strip you of your life. Now, here's where the internet is getting really loud because at the same time, her sister, Erykah Campbell, is celebrating 25 years of marriage with a vow renewal. I mean, it's very big, very public, a big announcement that she just made. I actually saw where Tina shared the post, like a good sister would, but the internet is like, wait a minute, is this bad timing? Is this insensitive? Is that sisterhood? Or is that a little hateration going on? Or is that a little just, self-centeredness? That's what some people are saying. And people don't like it. They're saying that Erykah should tone it down. But then you have the other side And I hate to say this, but I kind of lean towards it, where it says she deserves to celebrate her marriage too. Because that's a question I'll just kind of pose to you. When you think about friendships or even in families, when you have something, I guess either way, whether you are the person that's celebrating something or you are the something that's somebody that's grieving something or going through a challenge, how do you feel about your friends and your family during those times? Should they keep their celebrations private if you're going through? Or flip side, do you keep your stuff to yourself when you have a friend or a loved one who's going through similar challenges from an alternate lens? It's something to think about. But I personally don't think that she has to not celebrate her 25 years, but I do think that there's a way. I will say this. What keeps coming back to me is how necessary it is to walk in truth. Accept reality in the moment, no matter how hard it may be. We love a good fight for your marriage story. We love redemption. We love restoration. But we don't always talk about the moments when restoration doesn't happen the way we expect it. And that doesn't make someone a failure. It makes them human. And whatever the matter is, you can deal with it now or deal with it later, but you will have to face it. You will have to face your hard truths at some point. Tina and Teddy are in my prayers for sure. Their entire family, all of their children, everyone connected to them. This cannot be easy. I'm sure it's embarrassing, but I do know this. With faith and action, taking the necessary and sometimes uncomfortable steps forward, they can find life on the other side. Now, this next story had people talking for a whole different reason. The queen of neo soul, Fat Belly Bella, aka Sarah Bellum, I'm talking about the Erykah Badu, had a recent post that went viral, allegedly claiming that she told folk in the Black community to stop tithing and instead invest their money. Basically, if you make $40,000, that's $4,000 a year. And she also suggested that money could grow if invested instead. That's a lot, okay? That's a very touchy conversation. But here's the thing. I also heard recently that Badu came out and said that she did not say that. So here we are up in arms. And she said she never said that. And she wants to make sure that we're clear on that. Because at the end of the day, even though she denied it, which, we'll take her word for that, people are still debating faith versus finances, tithing versus investing, church versus wealth building. And this is one of those conversations, especially in the Black community, that runs deep, because tithing is not just about money. It's about obedience, tradition, faith. But at the same time, we're in a generation that's asking, how do we build wealth? How do we steward our money better? And I don't think it should be one or the other, honestly. I think it should be both. I think it's also important to elevate that giving without wisdom is not helpful, right? And so if I've worked for this dollar, I want to be mindful of where I'm sowing it. And sometimes I think we just sow out of habit. And I think that we do need to be very awake and aware of where we're sowing and when we're sowing and understanding the benefits of sowing. All of that matters. Ultimately, let's not forget the principle behind giving. So maybe the real question is, am I being obedient with what God has given me? I'd also say, with all due respect, if Erykah Badu can influence how you as a blood-washed believer give in church, you may have some deeper soul searching to do. I'm just saying, I like the girl, but she's not directing my faith. All right. Now, this last story, listen, we got to talk about my girl. It's Kim Burrell, can't you tell? Okay, I'm not Kim Burrell, as you can tell. Okay, so she recently made a statement on a popular podcast saying she will not be satisfied until she collaborates with Jasmine Sullivan, Brandi, and get this, Beyonce. Yes, and it was the way she said, well, first of all, I'm here for it. But second of all, of course, the internet, can we really get Brandi and Beyonce in the room? Why do y'all want to create beef? Don't create the beef among the sisters if there is no beef, even though I know some of you all would beg to differ. But anyway, back to Kim Burrell. Of course, it's not necessarily what she says, it's the way she says it. Very bold, very confident, very Kim Burrell. And we all know Kim can sing. Like, that's not even up for debate. Her gift, undeniable. She is GOAT, okay? But here's the conversation. When does confidence become haughty? Right? Now we're leaning into arrogance. And does delivery matter even when you're right? I'll let you be the judge. Listen.
I am not going to be content. Are we ready?
Yes.
Until I do the song that I deserve to sing with Brandi, Jasmine, and Beyonce.
Brandi, Jasmine Sullivan, and Beyonce.
No, we don't have to make it all in one song, but I would love it.
Oh,
I want to sing with all of them. I think we should record together. They have given me way too many accolades and love and respect for me not to. I want us to. I'm so grateful. Even after all of the success, this incredible tour that Brandi just finished, she and I ran into each other at the Grammys last week, and she was still loving and saying, "You taught me so much. Everything I do, I thank you for it." When I hear that, I'm like, okay, enough of that. Let's sing together then. We owe that. So me and Ray J, we were hanging out. A lot of people saw me, he and Travis and Troy Taylor. They said, wonder what they're up to. Of course, we're up to something great.
absolutely.
Yeah, and it does include Brandi on this one.
All right. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts because, there is a difference between I know what I bring to the table and y'all should be grateful I'm here, right? And I think what people respond to is not always what you say, is how you say it. Because you can be anointed, gifted, called, and still turn people off if the posture isn't right. And especially in gospel, people expect a certain level of humility, right or wrong. That's the expectation. But Kim is Kim, and y'all can't make me hate her. I think she's paid her dues and is a vocal reference for many of the greatest vocalists, musicians, and entertainers of all time. And honestly, I would love to see and hear that collab. So I'm going to just be quiet for now. Now, before we wrap, I want to shift the conversation just a bit because April is also Autism Awareness Month. And while we've been talking about culture and conversation, there's also some really important work happening in the community that deserves attention because awareness is one thing, but access, innovation, and opportunity, that's what really creates change. So I had the opportunity to sit down with Adrienne Fleming, the creator behind Blackbird Innovations, a platform focused on supporting individuals with different abilities through technology and real-world solutions. And what I love about this conversation is it goes beyond just awareness. We're talking about creating tools that actually support independence, helping people navigate work and life, and making sure individuals on the spectrum are not just seen, but supported in meaningful ways. So let's get into the conversation. Today I'm sitting down with Adrienne Fleming. She is the creator behind Blackbird Innovations, a platform using tech to create real support for individuals on the autism spectrum. And we also have a special guest that's joining us along with Adrienne, her son, Aldrich, which she'll introduce in just a little bit. But I'm so excited to really tackle this because awareness is cool, for sure. But access, that's what actually changes lives. So, Adrienne, let's start with you. Why don't you come on in and just share with us who you are and then tell us about Blackbird Innovations.
Yes, my name is Adrienne Fleming. I am a master's level clinician. I also have a master's in public administration. I am a home care agency owner. I've been working with the vulnerable population for over 30 years, but I decided to step into the technology space. Why? Because it's not something common for us, me being a woman, and also me being a woman, an African-American woman. But I felt that I know that we can save and change lives a little differently with technology. So I created Blackbird Smart Innovations. Blackbird Smart Innovations is a wearable technology company
Okay.
I want to say we are an ecosystem of safety and protection for our most vulnerable individuals.
Sure, sure. So, Adrian, you want to introduce your son and tell us about how the family works with this organization?
So this is my son, my youngest son, Aldrich Carthens Jr. He is the Chief Operating Officer of Blackbird Smart Innovations. So he also works with the engineers behind the scenes. So he do a lot of the tech solutions that's needed and tech involvement as it relates to the smart wearable and also the mobile application.
My name is Aldrich Carthens. Like my mother stated before, I handle mainly more of the back end stuff, but I make sure the operations flow a lot more smoothly. And I make sure the vision that my mother has can run as effective as possible.
God, I love to see it. It does something for my heart. What makes this personal? This can be a dual question. We'll start with you, Adrian. What makes this personal to you? Why did you decide to get into this work? And then Aldrich, we'll hear from you.
Right now, as it speaks right now, there is a missing vulnerable individual in Brooklyn with autism. Right now, it's in current events. It's happening so frequently. It's becoming a chronic problem. Why is missing individuals with all the technology, all the resources that they have available? Why is it still happening so frequently? And I said, something got to be done about it. They use social media. Police departments are not equipped. So I said, how can I be a change agent overall, but also with this population? So I created smart technology wearables as well as a HIPAA compliant mobile application in which we are now patent approved. We're about to get FDA approved. And I really am excited about it because I know that we can save lives through either our QR code, smart wristband, or the protective button that we have. We have the first ever protective button. Who has a protective button? Me. I'm the inventor of a protective button. So for individuals with autism, they may not necessarily want to wear the smartwatches, right? Because of their sensory stimulation, or they don't want to have anything on their wrist or wear the pendant. So I said, okay, I don't want to lose that population because again, I'm constantly seeing individuals go missing and sometimes end up in another state. Can you imagine the trauma and harm that the caregivers and their loved ones are going through while their child with disabilities is missing? So I said, how do I solve that? I created a protective button that they can either sew on and sew off, or I have the first ever, I have a teddy bear now. This is a beta teddy bear. It's a Blackbird teddy bear. You put the button in the back right here, and now the button now has become interactive. It's a GPS. But it's a locator and a tracker. So once you find that individual, how can you identify them? That's the problem. We had a young man in Middletown. He went missing. They found him almost a month later in a shelter in Philadelphia. Why? Because he got on the bus and then he got into a shelter, but they didn't know who he is. They found him later because someone thankfully recognized the mother constantly posting on Facebook because he was a Black young man, and unfortunately they don't, the missing persons didn't go well. She had to now advocate for herself, and she found him almost a month later. So we want to solve that problem.
Amazing. And it actually reminds me of another organization. And I'm sure your products, and maybe I'll direct this question to you, Aldrich, is not just for African-American individuals. However, sometimes when we are at the table, we also know that people who look like us are important to be searched for as well, right? Sometimes they're not always the one at the top of the news list. Right. But sometimes when you have a seat at the table, now I could say, OK, let's find Uncle Henry, right along with Uncle Bob. OK. And so, Adrian, what's been that positioning for you? How do you target your audience? Who does it look like? Is it individuals? Is it employers? Maybe talk about that.
Yes. So the individuals, we target a multiple vulnerable populations.
Okay.
I work with traumatic brain injury individuals with TBI because you can't see TBI, right? So we're advocating to get into JFK because they have this reconstruction. So we're looking to see how can we be part of the transit systems, because individuals that I work with traumatic brain injury, they want to travel, post the injury, right? They used to travel all over the world. They had this injury and now they cannot. So their quality of life has been impacted and impeded by this trauma that happened to them. So I want to now work with the transit systems to say, okay, we have an individual that's traveling that now have this medical ID alert, even though it looks like a smartwatch. Now we have the blue bands with the red bird. Tap the QR code, and now you're able to help this person. This person may have aphasia. Aphasia is, you can know, you have to speak slowly. You have to let them get all of their words out, or they may have a behavioral episode. Sometimes, like customer services don't know how to handle our population, and then it comes into a big outburst. Right? And then so they don't want to travel anymore. So we want to be a solution for all vulnerable populations, whether you have a child with autism with our button, or a senior with our pendant. Now we have a contract with T-Mobile, or we have the smartwatch that has, now we're monitoring blood pressure and heart rate. So we are a holistic, I want to say, a whole ecosystem of wearable technologies for the most vulnerable individuals.
Amazing. So, Aldrich, you can actually take this one. So I want to just kind of delve into impact. And so your mom was saying quite a bit. I mean, I can see the impact from a mile away, with just being able to find a loved one. But how do these tools actually improve day-to-day life for individuals? Is it a sense of security? What would you say?
So it's more than just a sense of security. It gives them a peace of mind, but also kind of give them their freedom back. So what you see was saying with the people with TBI, traumatic brain injury,
Oh, yeah.
some of them, they had normal lives. Like one of them, there was a story that I kind of, personally connected with because he drives motorcycles like I do. And unfortunately, he had into an accident, which led to his TBI. And that can happen to anybody. That can happen to me. My brother rides bikes. And the first thing, you think about is losing your freedom. And how do you get it back? With Blackbird, we're giving it back. So now if you want to travel, you want to go out of state, you just want to go to the grocery store, you can do that. Your loved ones can know that you're safe. The community can know that you're safe. You can do that all in a controlled environment while having your freedom back.
I love that. And now you said that, and then I don't know if you said this earlier. Why do we call it Blackbird? What's the significance of the Blackbird?
That is amazing. For me, Blackbird, I came up with this because I thought Blackbird is a protection bird. Blackbird has so many spiritual meanings. So for me, it could be an eagle. I relate it to the eagle because the eagle flies high. It has like a vision and a guidance and a protection. That's why I came up with Blackbird. Everybody asks me that. So if you see some of the videos in which I'm going to send you, and you'll be able to see the commercial, it starts out with Blackbird and it talks about safety and freedom.
Absolutely. I love that. And so, and thinking about we decided to kind of connect today surrounding Autism Awareness Month, although your organizations and the tools that you have goes beyond individuals with autism. But in thinking about the Awareness Month, why is this kind of month so important? And what's currently frustrating you surrounding maybe the community? Obviously, you come up with solutions for some of the things, but is there anything else that's kind of standing out that you want to even share to people who may not know a lot about this month?
It's just the information, like the first responders, we're going to equip them on how to handle this vulnerable population. Sometimes a lot of our individuals on the spectrum, they're what they consider to be high functioning individuals. You don't necessarily see their autism. You don't necessarily see their intellectual disability, right? Because they have a high functioning. So they function, or they may go to work and all of that. So there's a scenario in Hawaii in which we have a partner out there. Her son has he's high functioning. He was going to work. He wears a hoodie. Most individuals wear a hoodie with disabilities because that's his comfort zone. The police rolled up. They asked him for his ID, right? Identify himself, because he was half Black and half Hawaiian. And it didn't end up well. They beat him up very badly. And now he has a traumatic brain injury, and he is now, you want to say, unable to work anywhere, unable to be free and independent. So they were trying to create a solution for these individuals. So they came up with these ID cards that had a QR code. But the problem is now you're exposing the community to this individual's personal information. Right. So what I did was now say, okay, they contacted us and we say, our solution, our technology solution can assist with that. Because once you tap the community, as a community member, you see a person that's in crisis, you tap the QR code on the smartwatch, it takes you to a protective page. That page is what you want, the family members, the individuals want to only the community to know. Call this one, this one, this one, that's it. Now we have the first responder codes, meaning that the police department can now go inside of the mobile application, whether they have the app or not, and they can now see the individual's historical routes, what medication, what language they speak. They now can go further. Not only can they go further, so now communication happens and care happens there. Then now they can communicate that to the EMT. They can communicate that to the fire department, and they can communicate with the medical professionals, right? Yeah. So now they know who this person is. So instead of them going gun ho, they can now tap this individual and say, he's nonverbal. He has limited communication. So he may not be able to identify himself. He may be on a certain medication. Maybe you can look and say he did not take his medication. So now we're communicating through smart technology, which, technology is wonderful, especially when you can communicate for the needs of an individual who cannot communicate for themselves.
I mean, I am so impressed and just honored to talk to both of you guys, Adrian and Aldrich. The work that you're doing is second to none. I haven't heard of things like this, even if they are out there. The awareness is so important. And so this is why we're even doing this interview today, to let people know if you're raising someone who's autistic, or if you're autistic and listening to this, there's support for you. There are tools, there are resources for you. So Adrian, what's next for Blackbird Innovations? And then Aldrich, let us know how we can stay connected with you guys.
Okay, so we're getting ready to go to Ghana. We will approach. I know. I invite you to my launch. We're having a launch in June 20th. I send you the
June 20th. Okay.
Yes, and we are going to Puerto Rico. They're interested as well. So we are so excited because they love the technology. They love the fact that we created a solution for vulnerable individuals, but also with confidence and protection. I don't want to scream out that I have autism, right? I want to live a normal life. So but if I have my loved ones who are worried to death that I have a job, but now I'm giving them a peace of mind by saying I can still be independent because I want my independence, but now I have a smart solution of protection. Now I have a whole community. I have my neighbors, I have my loved ones, I have the police department. They all now is in my protective system, and they now can be notified any event of the crisis or any event I'm in harm's way. So that is why we're excited.
I love it. Aldrich, how do we get connected? Where do we learn more?
Yeah, so we have 2 Instagram pages. One is Blackbird_smart_tech. The other one's _Blackbird_smart_innovations_. We also have a website that you can follow us at.
So the website is blackbirdtech.app.
All right. That was such a good conversation. And I think it's a reminder that real impact doesn't always come from the loudest voices. Sometimes it comes from the people quietly building solutions. So shout out to Adrian and the work being done at Blackbird. Before we go, let me say this. Between everything we talked about today, from Tina and Teddy to the conversation around Erykah Badu and tithing, to Kim Burrell, and even the work being done around autism awareness, one thing is clear: life is layered. People are navigating relationships, faith, decisions, growth, all in real time. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is accept what's true, even when it's uncomfortable. So maybe the takeaway is this: give people room to be in their process, and make sure you're giving yourself that same room too. All right, y'all, that's the rundown. I'm Brandi Iberia, and I'll see you next time.